welcome to the Barbaric Entrepreneurs. It's a 10-part video series where we interview different entrepreneurs and freelancers who went inside the digital market and worked online and had drastic changes that made their life better and, of course, had an impact in other people. And for our today's guest, of course, he's one of my closest friends in terms of gaming, and now I know he has a lot of experience in terms of the digital market and designing stuff and everything of that. We'll be talking about it. So let me introduce you none other than Kuya Sam Alfafara. So good
Hello,
evening,
guys.
Kuya.
Hello again.
Hi, good evening.
So
Nice to be here. My name is Sam Alfafara. I'm a designer and creative director, and it's great to. I think we should go around the table and then introduce ourselves.
mhm. so
Thank you.
sige, why don't you start, P?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I'm Philip Enriquez, and I am a barbaric student, I guess you could say. I've been content writing for about a year now, and going on about a year and 6 months this coming March.
How about you, Alex?
Hi guys, I'm Alex Khaled. I'm a video editor and also a graphic designer. I started freelancing for like 2 months now, and yeah, it's doing good.
And he also has a YouTube, so he has experience on his own personal experience video editing. So why don't we start, Kuya, with you? Of course, you're our guest, and we want to pick your brains out talaga in this episode because I know you have decades of like ano talaga
Grabe
yung
namang decades. mga over a decade naman.
Oo,
Naman decades.
so,
Parang 20 years na yung decades eh. Pinatanda mo naman ako.
so don't worry, we're not ano naman telling your age here, so di naman kailangan ipaalam sa iba. Malay mo, di ba?
I think when I start telling my story, you'll more or less guess my age. So, ayun. Where do you want me to start, I guess?
Well, I guess my first question for you right now is how did you jump into the digital market to working online? Because kanina we've just recently talked about it lang na you started also from the corporate job. So, why don't we start there?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good place to start. Pero I think before that, at least let me guys tell you about a bit more of what I do. Just so if you have any students or audience listening, they pretty much know. Let me like, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him?
Yep.
You know, does what he say make any sense? So, um, my name is Sam Alfafara. I think of myself as a designer and creative director, and why you should listen to me is that I have over 17 years experience in the industry. I specialize in identity design, logos and branding, graphic design. I used to do a lot of web design as well. Mostly these days, it's UI, UX, and packaging design. And lately, with a couple of my passion projects, I've started doing clothing design as well.
Mm.
So we can circle back around and talk about that. My current situation in terms of work is I am a executive creative director over at Mineski Global. I am the co-founder, the creative director, and principal designer for Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack is a uh, technical and casual clothing company deeply rooted in stuff like techwear, cyberpunk, Japanese, military influences. And apart from all that, I also run my own one-man design studio. I call it Alfafara Design Co. That's where I push pixels as a designer and creative consultant for various international clients. So that's what's keeping me busy at the moment. And if we talk about where it all started, It was around. I started my first job as a designer around 2004, 2005.
Mhm.
Um, I had just come home from college, and I actually didn't take uh, design. I don't have any formal training. I studied business and marketing in the UK, and then I came home and I started doing a bit of freelance for just small projects for friends, and from a hobby, design actually turned into my career. Um, and then I started in the corporate world maybe 2004 2005. I worked until around 2009 when I saw the opportunity to leave the corporate world and set up my own home office. I started freelancing, and then eventually I set up my own brand and I rebranded myself as a one man studio. So since then, I have gone in and out of the corporate world, either as creative director or a creative consultant for several local and international companies. One of them, namely, being this Australian company where I worked as a creative director with a small team of 8 creatives, where we basically ran the whole marketing campaign for the whole company. That would be releasing in Australia. We ran it from the Philippines. So I worked there for about a year. Um, and then it was then when I started Sneak Attack with a couple of friends around 2017, maybe. And I've been, doing those things ever since. So just keeping active, in and out of corporate
So basically,
as
kuya, you
consultancies,
still
and
have
yeah,
ano ba, you
that's pretty
still
much it.
have a corporate work right now or naka-focus na siya outside na talaga?
Ay, hang on, let me pause muna.
Oo.
Sorry.
No problem.
Wait, let me pause lang muna. May tao lang sa door.
Mm-mm.
Sorry.
I'm loving it so far.
Yeah. Yun talaga eh. We got to pick his brains out kasi nga, matagal na talaga siya sa industry.
Absolutely.
Red horse, extra strong.
Malakas
Saan
yan.
pa yung drink mo? Ako, tubig lang ako eh.
I don't think, no, nawala ata sound mo kuya. Not sure.
Ayun, sorry about that. Nag-ring lang yung intercom. So, let's just cut that part out. Sorry about that. Ayun. So, let's go back to after I told how I got into it, and then you can ask me your question.
So, from what we just heard right now, you were on a corporate job in Australia with a team then. Bale.
No,
Or separate yun.
it was an Australian company, and they were based here.
Mhm.
I was supposed to go to leave for Sydney,
Mhm.
pero we set the company up here muna, and yeah, that's how I
Ongoing
started.
pa rin siya ngayon.
No, I left that job na.
So,
That this was a transition between me freelancing and me working as my own parang brand for my own one man studio. And then I took a break from that. I went back into the corporate world for a year. I worked for these guys. I helped them set up their creative department, and yeah. And then after that, when I left, I started doing other things na rin, like Sneak Attack.
yung whole corporate story mo kuya, you already were working as a graphic designer, nothing else?
Yes, nothing else. Actually, like I said, I wasn't really educated as a designer. I'm purely self-taught. And when I came back from studying abroad, I had two options: either pursue what I learned on my course in marketing, or follow what I really wanted to do, which I was doing as a hobby before, which was design.
Pero
So I started out.
but I
I
would
started out designing websites, graphic design, and then identities, logos, and then branding.
I
That's
would
how I started.
guess right now na gagamit naman yung business and marketing mo, like in terms again, because like you already have a brand, you already have this business na binibuild out mo on your own with a team, so nagamit pa rin siya in some way.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say na hindi talaga siya nagamit because I found that the lessons I learned studying marketing really helped me understand design from the side of the consumer. It because if you do stuff that you think is right and then you just design for yourself, that's not really design. That's more like art because art is very selfish, especially when it comes to graphic arts. So I started out as like a graphic artist, just doing fun stuff lang for myself. And then when I finally managed to incorporate the lessons I learned in marketing, and it made me understand my clients more. Um, it made me a more efficient communicator because at the end of the day, that's what design is. It's communication, but in visual form. So yeah, it did help me a lot.
And in terms, siguro kuya, in like workspace when you were like freelancing, what would you say yung biggest struggles mo at that time? Especially nung bago ka pa.
Yeah, that's a great question. Kasi people have this image of leaving the corporate world, and it's this romanticized image that control ko oras ko, I can work from the beach and I can do all these things, and sometimes that's true. I have worked a lot on the beach, especially when I miss Davao enough na I would go home and spend a couple of months there and just work on the beach. But most of the time, you're still bound to the location that you want to operate in. Like, I prefer to stay in Manila because this is where all the clients are. It's hard to get high paying clients uh, in the provinces, except if you go abroad, except if international clients. So then the reverse is true, where since you're spending a lot less because you're in the province, then it would be better to build a client list off that. Yeah, but it was really hard starting out because I didn't know what to do. I was such a noob that I would just accept projects without properly considering their timeline. Um, but I think what made it a bit easier for me, the transition, was from the beginning, I already managed to score a client that I would treat as my retainer client. So there was some semblance of stable income coming from that retainer. And then once I got my budget together, then I could figure out, okay, how much more do I need to earn to hit my goals? Right? How much more do I need to earn to save this much? How much more do I need to earn to basically just keep me alive for the next couple of months? And then that's when you go and chase your other international clients for your freelance. So it's a lot of discipline, which is why I think people who have that dream of just dropping the tie and leaving the corporate world, they have this skewed image of it being easy. Kasi well, actually hindi mo control yung time mo unless
Right.
magaling ka talaga mag time management. Like sometimes you'll be working nga if you really want to grind, if you're really passionate about what you're doing, then you'll be working till 5 a.m. the next day.
Yep.
Just hitting deadlines and not counting pa the different time zones of your clients
Very true.
from around
Especially
the
kung
world.
yung isa from USA, from Australia, tapos ikaw nag-adjust sa schedules nila. I think that would be the parang determining factor when you're freelancing, because like dito may specific hours tayo, sanay tayo sa oras natin, pero pagdating doon tayo mag-adjust, hindi sila yung nag-adjust. At
Exactly.
especially pag bago ka pa.
So that's challenging kasi if you have a client that works, actually the longest setup for me has been I have a client that runs on UK time, and I also have a main client that runs on US time. So I have to manage yung expectations ng deadlines. I have to manage yung expectations ng when I respond to them, because they expect you to run on their time. So you have to constantly keep on reminding them na, this, if you submit this, let's say revision today, then it's not gonna get taken care of until the next day in your time zone when I wake up. So and but I think the hardest thing that I had to face was actually fear. So I was afraid of leaving the security of a salary. So it takes a lot of guts to parang wean yourself off that na parang sure ka na meron kang papasok 15, 30
Yeah.
or whatever pumapasok yung salary mo. So that takes a lot of guts. Yeah.
So, kuya, ang question ko is, ano pwede mong mabigay na tips na sa pag-manage ng time? Paano mo nasasabay-sabay lahat ng yun? Kasi sa 2 months ko, yan ngayon ang pinaka-problem ko talaga kasi sobrang sabog lahat. And yun talaga, hindi, parang hindi na ako makapag-focus sa ano kasi pagkatapos nito, lalo na pag nagde-design, syempre parang sobrang sabaw ng ano mo, pag-iisip ng design tapos after mo ina-expect mo na okay, wait, pahinga ng saglit pero hindi mo mapapansin na may deadline na naman na isa so another design and ganun. So paano mo siya na parang sabay-sabay lahat, paano mo minamanage yung time mo talaga?
I'll be the first person to say that I'm very bad at time management. Right? So it took me a long time to sort of figure out how to manage my time. But basically, shorthand for me, if I needed something done in 2 days, I would need to have started one day ahead. So always add one day. So that's a simple hack for me. So always add that to your parang estimates when you're building a schedule and timeline for a client. And then I think the main thing is not bite off more that you can chew. Know your limits. Na eto lang talaga kaya ko ma-handle at this point in my career, and maybe 1 month I have a lot of projects. I know why you're asking that kasi sayang hindi tumanggap eh. 'Di ba? When you see a project and pasok ka naman or it's offered to you, sayang hindi tumanggap. But before you accept that project, really make sure that you have enough time to give it proper attention. Because right now, when you're referring to yourself as a freelancer, a term that I don't really like actually. That's why I always refer to myself as I have my own design studio. I run my own one-man design studio because I'm not a freelancer. I whenever a project is too big for me, I always hire out extra people to buff my team. If kailangan ng copywriting, if kailangan ng video editing, if kailangan ng assistant for graphic design or whatever. If hindi ko forte, then why would I and the project is big enough, then why would I take all of that weight on myself? And I can build a small team. I can pay them the fair rate, and then I can be more efficient and effective and accept bigger projects. So I think getting over that hurdle of, oh shit, I'm a freelancer lang, eto lang yung time ko, to the next step where I am actually a business for hire. I am actually a team maker. If what you need, so one of you guys fortes are copywriting, one of your guys fortes is design. So if you need design, if you need a designer, then you target people who need design. If the project's too big, then you hire more people.
Sure.
So yeah, so I think the answer to that is don't bite off more than you can chew. Learn to delegate if you can, and just take it easy. Because you guys are young, so you can still crunch it out and work hard to the bone. But when you start hitting my age, you start to feel it. After like a whole night work session where you'd be okay the next day, sumasakit na likod mo, and so take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Well,
So a last thing about time, Paula. A last thing about time. People always talk about time also in the time frame of and it's not just freelancers, also people who work in the offices. They talk about time in the frame of work-life balance, right? And I'm here to tell you that there's no such thing as work-life balance.
so
Especially
you don't believe.
especially if especially if you care about what you do, especially if you care about your work, especially if you want to hone yourself in your craft. There's no such thing as work-life balance. There's only work-life integration. Your work is your life.
True. Because like if you're passionate about what you do, then yun talaga ang kakain sa oras mo. Which is, I know personally, kahit bago for ako kuya personally, in the past 2 years, it's always how you develop yourself and become a valuable asset to others. Yun naman kasi parang ang nagiging factor lagi. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
sinabi mo din yan na you're like a business na they need you instead of you needing them. Kasi yung, parang yun din yung nakita kong mindset na they're the ones looking for help and you're the one who's offering help. So dapat ganun
Mm-hmm.
kasi 'di ba parang pag
Mm-hmm.
especially pag bago ka pa parang you're always parang getting on scraps. Parang
But
baril-baril.
make no mistake, you need them because freelancing, especially when you're just starting out, it's about building your own brand. And especially at the very beginning, and even freelancers na very experienced who've been working for decades, and it's feast and famine talaga yan. Sometimes you score big with a big client, sometimes you get a retainer, sometimes you don't. So it's really feast or famine. Sometimes sarap, like you have completing all your budget goals, you get your savings, you can pay your rent on time and everything. And then there are times where 2 months, 3 months
Wala.
passes na puro scraps lang, right? And those are the months that are really gonna test you and say, okay, am I, do I want
Like
this?
this. True.
Tama ba tong ginagawa ko? Parang ganun.
Kasi ako
And
personally, I've also experienced that kuya na there was moments where you're so happy kasi you've reached that goal. Like for example, you decide income is ganito. Tapos umabot ka.
mm-hmm,
Tapos by
mm-hmm,
after 2 months, biglang out of nowhere, you plummet down and you just earn like 1/4 of what you earned last 2 months ago. And like
yep,
at that point, you'll be thinking, what would I do next? How would I live for the next few months? Kasi hindi ko na makuha yung achieved numbers. So, you find a new, yun nga, and different yung makompare mo talaga sa corporate. If you just want stability, then yes,
yep.
there's corporate job. Hindi naman mawawala yun. Pero if you want to step it up and you're ready to face the challenges of the digital market, then it's a big opportunity.
Very very different yung employee mindset
Mm-mm.
sa freelancing or self-employed mindset. It's very different, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone has what it takes. So, ay, cheers.
Cheers, kuya, cheers.
Yeah.
So, it parang if you're someone in corporate right now who's thinking of leaving it to start out on your own as a freelancer and then maybe build your own small company based on your own expertise, my advice to you is think about it very hard. It's not for everyone. It's gonna be a lot harder than, oh, gising ako ng 6 a.m., 7 a.m., pasok ako ng office ng 9. I'm gonna sit there until 5 and then uwi ako. And then sa 15 may sweldo, sa 30 may sweldo. Oh, by the way, meron din ako insurance, right? So there are no safety nets when you get into this thing. You will have to build your own safety nets. You will have to build them for yourself. Your insurance, your finances, the chunk of savings that you set aside to live on while it's famine, diba? And where the money goes when it's feast, when it's time to feast.
So, P,
So
maybe
uh,
questions?
this may register on a more personal level. I was just wondering if I could ask, when did you decide that you really wanted to go into this? Were you just sitting in the office one day and you decided that this is just not working for me? Sitting in here for hours on end. Uh,
There, yeah, that's a good question. There wasn't really like one moment that made me want to decide to leave the corporate world. It was just a matter of me being adventurous at the time, na parang just trying to figure out of a way to make things better for myself in terms of, I was still at that time I was still chasing work life balance. So same as many of ngayon, I got seduced by the idea of building my own home office from home, setting my own schedule. So I got seduced by that idea, and then I quickly found out that it kind of is like that, but not really.
right.
And it's not just one time. It's several moments that made me decide to stick to this path. Um, One of them really is that I'm a very bad employee, right?
In terms of
So
bad, Anong,
I'm a bad employee. Like
do you fight with the boss or something?
no, not that kind. I have my own ideas. I have my own ways that I want to do things. I have very strong opinions, and I'm pretty bad. Like I said in the beginning, I'm bad with time management. So very then and there, I figured out, I really don't like the corporate world. I really, because it was like, for me, it was like a continuation of school.
Right.
Yeah, where you had all these reports and all these things to work out, and you had to earn a good grade so you get your next promotion or your raise. So it wasn't really going the way that I wanted, and I quickly realized that to get all these things, I had to be a good employee. But as I said, I'm a bad employee. So that's one of the things when you realize that, holy shit, I'm not cut out for following orders. That's when I started to think, na, okay, by this time in a few years, I want to be the one giving the orders. I want to be more in charge of what I design, what I create, uh, kind of people that I associate with. I want to be more in charge of uh, who I take projects from. uh, it all boiled down to, I wanted to, because as a designer, you're a problem solver, diba? So
Right.
it all boiled down to, whose problems do I want to solve. Apart from building myself up as a designer, as a creative director, it came down to, whose dreams do you want to build. And the answer was, of course, build my own dreams, but at the same time, and help others, and help these things that I cared about. So I would usually give away logo and branding for free to friends, because I knew that they were on that same path as well, that they wanted to take control of their own destiny. It didn't last because I got really busy, but sometime in the middle part of my freelancing, I would at least find one friend a month who needed help in terms of design or creative or branding, and I would just offer my services to them free of charge.
So
And
basically,
then,
you're
hey,
giving value early on sa stage mo.
exactly. And although it's a mantra almost right now, especially in the creative profession, in the creative industry, because creatives aren't getting the respect that we want, or that we deserve. I don't know if we deserve it, but the respect that we want. It was a theme na, pag may ginawa ka, pag may galaw ka, pabayad ka. Pabayad, get paid, get paid, get paid. Sure, yes, if you're dealing with a client and you're actually treating them as a business client, and yeah, treat it as a business, of course, get paid. But at the same time, don't close your door to people who might need your help, to people, it's parang, it's your way of passing it on. It's your way of giving back. And yeah, I think that has worked out for me so far, because the friends that I help end up helping me. Of course, you never do that because you want them to help you in the future, but alam mo yun, if as a designer, as a creative, if you can help someone out, and then in the future they give back, then it's all good.
Ito yung next question ko eh. In terms of stability, kasi of course, I mean, right now, you could say you're stable na sa as being a creative director, a designer, and everything, all that. But, how would you say na differentiate mo yung stability pagdating sa corporate, tapos napunta ka sa ganyan? Like, did it take you months or years to reach what you had on the corporate job in terms of like desired income? Or at that point, you had that, maybe you had that flair or prowess na naging ganun agad na-achieve mo siya in the same,
There's no schedule for that, I think. um because my path has been not straightforward. It's been twisty. Like, if you recall what I read, sorry, excuse me, if you recall what I read off as my credentials. So most people, they pick a lane and specialize in it. Like, graphic designer lang talaga ako. Social media manager. So they stick in that lane. I was all around when it came to design. I was doing a design for print. I was doing design for web, and those are very, very different disciplines. As in, very, very different. And especially this sort of third leg that I'm trying out right now, which is clothing and fashion design. It's the disciplines are very, very different. So there's nobody to hold your hand when you do all this. and you just have to keep your eyes open and learn whenever you can.
Absolutely.
So, what would be the next part ang gusto kong pag-usapan, kuya, is like, when you've already shifted on this, like, yung nga mindset to do this on your own, to become
Mm.
a boss, uh, what would be the yung mga naging factors na naghinder sa at first, of course, especially nung different kasi ngayon yung parang in terms of online work ngayon, and like 10 years ago, I would say sobrang dami ng changes. So ano yung
Yes.
makikita mo na that was the hard part last 10 years ago, tapos ngayon parang easy na lang siya?
Well, for one, people working from home right now have it easy, have it a lot easy. Before, of course, I had to build my office from scratch, piece by piece. I wasn't earning that much. As I said, feast or famine. Everything that I would earn, I would either set aside for savings, pay the rent, and the extra would always go to upgrading my home office. Um, Sorry, could you repeat the what you were asking?
I
That's the
mean,
last
yung
one.
difference na, of course, yung nga, it's easy now, but what was like,
Ah,
it
yeah,
was hard
the
before, like 10
difference.
years ago.
Uh, well, for example, internet speed.
Mhm.
It's so much better now. Connectivity is so much better now. Dati na pag umulan napuputulan kami
Oo.
ng internet.
Yes.
Ganun pa. I started working from home, hindi naman sa dial up period, that was long gone. DSL na ako.
Mm-mm.
But then DSL back then was pretty bad. Like you would already be happy with like 5 Mbps coming through, 7 Mbps coming through. Now everyone's on like 100
100,
Mbps,
200,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
under
so
200.
easy.
With
So,
fiber
you
and
know.
everything.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Tapos may
So right
dito
now,
pa.
right now I'm on fiber, which I appreciate a lot.
Mhm.
And maybe if I had this stable connection a long time before, then a lot of headaches would have been reduced. In terms of clients, then there's more demand right now, but medyo mababarat na sila ngayon eh.
Oo.
Before, especially in Upwork, I think Upwork was named something else before, if you
It
can
was
recall.
Odes before.
Odesk. When it was Odesk before, wala pa masyadong kakompetensya.
Oo.
And then people from different countries that have cheaper labor than us started entering. So you've got the Pakistanis, the Indians, and so I mean they would really beat you when it comes to pricing your work down.
Mhm.
So that when that started to become common, then I left that platform. I left Upwork
Mhm.
to just find clients myself manually.
Mm. And
And
how do you usually find clients? If you were looking for one, tapos yun nga, you need.
bef- be- before it was Upwork, of
Mm.
course, because that's how you got the intro.
Mhm.
Once you get an intro with them, then if you can extend your relationship to say a retainer agreement for a few years, which is what happened to a couple of clients, then you can slowly build like you can slowly wean off the platform and then build a portfolio of retainers that come in every month that give you some semblance of security, and then yeah, just go from there. Kasi pretty much right now, to answer your question, how I get my clients right now, they're mostly referred.
Mhm.
I don't hunt for clients anymore. I don't scour the net for clients anymore. I've built up my network, I think, enough so that if someone needs something done graphically,
Did go to you.
uh, yeah, if someone needs something that I provide, like say a logo design or a brand design, then they come to me, and then I can treat that as extra income. So siguro the fastest that you can sort out something that's a hybrid sort of thing, like a semi-stable, like you have a couple of guys giving you retainers,
Mhm.
and then you're free to hunt the bigger fish, the mga one-time clients that'll pay you like 200,000 pesos a pop, 500,000 pesos a pop. If you can score those sorts of clients moving forward, then you'd be set for a while.
Mhm. Tapos you could, like, for example, you could wait for another like 4 months before,
Yes.
prepare yourself for the
Yes.
famine.
I mean,
Mhm.
Okay.
And eto kasi kay ngayon, kuya, like, on my personal experience, yung yung Odes or yung Upwork kasi medyo bad side ako kasi nga nung bago ako I wasn't really able to go inside. Tapos nung pumasok ako, it was really hard to like find people who'd work because like basically when you're like a writer and you don't have skills like I do before, I didn't have anything like in terms of like artistic stuff, wala talaga ako in terms of uh, backstory experience as in zero. So nahirapan ako sa freelancing on terms of yun nga sa Odes. So what happened was I shifted to different kinds of platform and yun nga, from Facebook online jobs and LinkedIn was like the main three where I got a lot of people.
Hmm.
Tap,
How long have you been freelancing? I know
uh,
we talked about this before, but can you tell the audience?
right now, I'm about 1 year and 7 months. So I started looking for work online last August of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos it was pretty bad because I was already working as a fitness instructor before. So if people may have known me, naging coach ako dito sa Palawan and I had done CrossFit stuff and also attended mga events before. Ganun kasi yung parang naging passion ko at that time. Then I wanted to find another area where I could earn more for kasi dati kasi parang pabigat lang ako sa magulang ko and I didn't study well. So yun, I decided to find work and the first work I had was like I was writing $5 work for just like
Excuse me.
for like a month. So if I had a client, they'd pay me $5 for 1,000 word content and that's it
Yeah.
for the whole month. So
And you got this from Upwork?
no, I
Was it
got this from random people's Facebook group.
random?
So I was
Yeah,
just
from mga
like
Facebook groups.
I was just sending out
Yeah.
like I know how to write, I can get content and those kinds of stuff. Tapos it was hard kasi nga
Very hard.
compared sa like you have a daily job na makaka-pay sa'yo monthly 15 and 30 doon as in zero talaga so sobrang sakit sa
Yes.
ulo. Yan
Yes.
talaga ang bad side sa pag-start. So
Mm.
yun din yung parang pinupush ko sa mga ibang tinuturuan ko ngayon in terms of content and copywriting that they have to really make noise for themselves kasi sobrang dami ng kalaban ngayon and you
Yes.
have to stand out na you can do the job better. You have that skills. Tapos yun, I talked to someone through Fiverr. And I thought it was just like a $5 thing din kasi yung Fiverr is usually like that. But I
Mm.
found out that this guy was working for a streamer in League of Legends and he
Mm-hmm.
was like a manager and he needed content writing. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
yung 11 years of knowledge ko din sa LoL because I also started in if nobody knows about League of Legends it's an online game. So yun nga, I played that for 11 years which is hindi naging reason kung bakit ako nagbulakbol for a few years. But, but after that, I realized that parang naging skill siya because you have that knowledge about the game and you know how to write about those
O-
so
Okay lang 'yun. Don't think of those as bulakbol. Kasi if you recall, I don't know if you follow si Paul Medina, the writer of Pugad Baboy on Facebook. He's clearly like one of the better known comicero and actually an icon at this point.
mhm.
And one of his latest posts was pretty funny. He pretty much admitted na yeah, parang do you guys remember this graphic novel that I was making like a few years ago and then it got delayed and delayed and delayed. And he said the real reason is na addict daw siya sa Doom. So
Anong game?
yeah, so na-addict siya sa Doom. So don't put yourself down about that because it happens to the best of us, and even national icon.
So, no, I understand naman.
Um,
Pero it's na din, parang naging thankful na din ko in some ways because that game really brought me to the content writing itself and naka-find ako ng high-paying client who'd sustain me for like 3 months. And after that,
mm,
I decided to like find a mentor who'd teach me another skill which is copywriting. And he was the one who guided me throughout the whole process. Parang 5-week mentorship program siya. Tapos, yun, he guided me all that. Then, the process of how to find clients, how to sell yourself out. Tapos, in the end, yeah, that's how I started the copywriting. And until now, I have clients. Like right now, I have about 4 clients who's really paying me throughout the month, which I love kasi nga compared talaga sa work ko as a fitness instructor. Hindi ko naman inaano yung fitness instructor because others are already paying, having good income din on that side, but I got a new skill which I really love right now to share to other people na it can really change your life in just a snap. Kasi after from August 9, 2019, as in 000 for the next few months, pagdating ng February, in just a snap, everything went up, tapos the world went down kasi at the time
Yeah.
of pandemic. So
Yeah.
parang it was like a good thing din kasi I started earlier before the pandemic happened. So parang yun din yung pinupush ko na you don't have to wait, like yun yung sanay tayo Pinoy man yan na habit na sige lang, sunod na lang muna, pero why don't you start now? You don't know.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
I think to touch on the original question that started this discussion, siguro you already touched on it na eh. The difficulty ngayon is a lot of people have, by choice or by not, started working from home, and that has opened their eyes to actually hustling from their own home office, actually going out and finding remote work. Whereas before they were happy just going to the office and coming home in the evening. Now it's opened their eyes. So there are a lot more remote workers ngayon, a lot more competition to those clients that you want. But the rise of that has been slow and steady naman. Nag-explode lang talaga ngayong pandemic. Pero before, as in napapansin ko na ang dami nang nagsiswitch to either as a side hustle or as a full-time job, remote working, even before the pandemic. So I guess working offline, working online for about 16 years, I think. I've seen it be very, very lucrative to dapat you really have to promote yourself, and otherwise your clients are just going to be stolen from you by cheaper people. And it or cheaper to pay people. I don't want to say they're cheap, pero kumbaga mas mura yung services nila sa'yo, or mas better, or your worst nightmare is they're better than you and they're cheaper. So
And
that's always a problem.
And I would say naman din, it's not, kasi on my side, I didn't go give all my chips on the online work and freelancing and everything. Ako kasi parang what I did was in the morning, I was coaching 2 classes a day. Then I went back to school kasi inayos ko na yung pag-aaral ko. Tapos by afternoon to evening, I would coach again for like 4 classes. Then after that, I would side hustle before matulog until 12 a.m. para maghanap ng mga clients. So parang hindi din siya agad na nag-shift ng digital side din. And I guess it also gonna be ganun kasi ang maging setup nila at start. So parang hanap muna unti-unti. Tapos pag meron sila, kung dahan-dahan nilang i-shift na, I could go more on this side na.
Yes, that's actually a good lesson to give. Na like you said earlier, na you were staying with your parents at home and you were living off them. My advice for people who want to try this out is do that. Live off your parents as long as you can. While you're young, while hindi ka pa burden sa kanila, of course, help pay the bills, help with the utilities or whatnot. But that support that they can give you, especially during the lean times, that's very important to have in the beginning when you're just starting out. So live off your parents as much as you can while you're still young, and then if you still have a career, work on keeping that job and being good at that job as long as you can. So you can just do your side hustle when you come home from work, and just keep on building on your side hustle until that becomes a viable alternative for you to jump off from the corporate world. And for me, I was young and I was stupid. I just wanted to try it out, so I didn't do any of those things. I just got offered a retainer by an old client na, hey, I can take care of this much for you. So I was like, hey, okay, then the rest I can just go freelance for. So I just stopped working from the office, and I just didn't come in one day, and then
So that means parang pinabayaan mo, okay, bye-bye. Parang
yeah, I was young, I was stupid, I didn't know what I was doing. I found the idea attractive of working in my boxers, And I didn't even think na parang holy shit, it's gonna be really hard. And I didn't even think to prepare like, oh, I have to save up like this much before I stop the security of a salary and just go on my own path. So I didn't even think of those things, which I think is good and bad because when you make a lot of mistakes, you also learn a lot of lessons. Eh.
Yun din kasi you fail forward.
So okay lang for me. Okay lang, like just do it. If you can be safe, if you can live off your parents, if you can work at that job without killing yourself, without destroying your soul for as long as you can, do it. But if you want to be brave and you want to try it out, then do that as well. It might not end well for you, or it might end brilliantly for you, but at least you did it. At least you tried.
Well, let's now shift, Kuya, on the topic more on your expertise, which is more on graphic designing, more on those artistic areas na ikaw talaga yung you become a boss on that. How would you say, lalo na like for Alex, he's kind of new to this graphic design, video editing and stuff. What would be like, do you have like a framework, like basic framework when you're doing graphic design, when you're looking at editing stuff, na always nagsistick siya kahit ngayon na matagal ka na?
Okay, that's a great question. Sige. What is this? Like you want me to give sort of more general advice to
Well, we could
as
start
a
off of that, then pwede nating
sige.
like a specific.
As for my field with design, like I brought up earlier, madami ka talagang kalaban now also from China, from Southeast Asia, from East Asia. Marami ka talagang kalaban sa kliyente because they can charge so much cheaper than you. And when your goal is driving your prices up, driving your value up so that you get paid what you deserve or you get paid what you want, it's going to be hard. So the best thing to do is to invest in yourself. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but it really works. Like put in the work to build your brand, put in the work to build renown, to build your client list, so that you get to a point where you're lucky enough that clients come to you versus you hunting for them. Early on in my freelance and own self employment, I was very, it was very unstable. I experienced a lot of tough times, but never did the time come na sabi ko na I want to quit. And I think that's one thing that you can't really know at the beginning. You'll just find it out when you're at that point na. Of course, we all get that feeling na ayoko na, gusto ko na mag-quit na ganun. But it was never, that feeling was never strong enough to drive me back to
Corporate
actively consider being a permanent, like having the corporate world as just one source of my income. So right now I'm half in, half out. I've built it in such a way that 4 days of the week I am working for an employer, and 3 days of the week I'm working for myself. So if you can get to that level, that's and it works for you, it doesn't interfere with each other, then that's good. Kasi hybrid yung income mo nun. You get multiple streams of income, you get multiple types of income, you get hybrid income. But then some people just like really strike it out and just go out on their own and just do talagang freelancing, which is what I did in the beginning, which was very, very scary. And yeah, because it's romantic to think, diba, na parang uy, next year I'll score this, 1 million peso client, and then he's gonna take care of like, so it's very risky. But because you don't have any safety nets, you have to build them yourself. You have to build your insurance, you have to build your finances. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's really bad.
Yun yung
And
difference, kuya. Like, I mean, sa corporate, nakaset up when you join na sineset up na nila, like for example SSS, PhilHealth, eBay, na lahat sa corporate world.
Yeah.
So dating naman sa freelancing is you do it on your own. Like,
Yeah. You have to seek that out on your own. You have to take care of your own schedule. You have to take care of your own health. And bringing it back to graphic design, you really need to get good at your craft, or you need to get good at directing people who are good at their craft. Like in my own personal experience, I would rather hire people who are better than me. Actually, I actively seek people, designers who are better than me, because that's the way that you can push your projects higher. Um, as long as you know how to direct them, as long as you know what you want, they'll be, good assets in building your own business, then in building your own brand. And always try to get, and this applies not just to designers but to everyone. So just going back, it'll always try to get multiple streams of income. I cannot stress that enough. Like, get retainers, get big
Project
clients who are
basis.
here sometimes, who are next month wala.
Kasi iba-ibang
And
schedule
it
sila eh. Yun kasi yung maganda.
exactly.
Yung ganun.
So
On
it,
my personal side, yung ginawa ko, like, for example, may monthly client ako na nagpipay,
mm,
by the end of the month, meron namang 520 sa month, yung
yeah.
iba namang 1530. So, parang, hindi ka mauubusan ng ano.
Yes, and as early as possible, figure out your finances. Figure out, like, start saving. That's also one of the things that, as a irresponsible young guy, that I didn't do from the beginning. Like, I was like, oh wow, look at all these cash that I'm getting. So, party, go out, like hang out,
Love,
go out of the
loves.
town. Yeah. So, be responsible in that regard, because it's very very tempting to, especially when you have suddenly an influx of cash flow that you didn't have before. You're like, holy shit, look at all this money I have, so let's spend it. Parang ganon. So yeah, watch out for that in the beginning. But if you're young, then go ahead, do it. Why not? Yeah, I wouldn't trade those experiences that I had for the money.
Enjoy
For me,
life.
it was worth
Sabi
it.
nga.
Yeah, it was worth
Valuable
it.
lessons.
Um,
But
yeah, but
I mean, yung problem naman pag ganun, like, if you're just gonna wait it out until you're 30 and you start saving up, magiging problem din siya. If you're like, in the future, you're gonna build a family. I would say personally, for last year, I wasn't doing that. Tapos parang, I get to feel like everything to go all out on cash, tapos not save up for anything. Now, parang ang laging nasa mindset ko whenever I earn money, what do I want to put this money into na mag-grow siya even without me working on that. Parang yun kasi. Like,
and I think, my final piece of advice for designers out there is, reach a level of expertise that you can actually utilize to give an edge over the cheaper competitors, or the better competitors. Reach a level of expertise, like really hone in and hone down on your craft. um, because it's just gonna get tougher. A lot of people are entering the remote working market right now, and you're just gonna have a lot more competition. Build your client base slowly, take care of them, find the right clients, and don't be afraid to fire a client if that client isn't working out for you. Like, I had this client before. I'm not gonna say his name. He's an Israeli guy, and what he wanted to do was, he wanted to use my portfolio as his portfolio,
mm-hmm.
right? So when I figured that out, I was in midway through
Is
with a
it?
relationship now with him, as a client relationship with him. And when I found out that that's what he was aiming for eventually, then I said, this isn't working out for us. I don't think that's the right way to do. And by the way, can you please pay me? So you haven't paid me for a month.
Yun kasi yung
So
parang struggles talaga. You're the one who's like
yeah,
knocking their doors para lang
yeah. Yeah, and then when they want something from you, they want it really fast,
Oh.
but pagbayaran na, matagal na.
Mm-mm.
So those are all realities that you need to be aware of before jumping off. You really need to know your own value, how you can increase that value, and when you're talking to a client, you need to prove to them that. I mean, I'm not telling you guys to say, just give an arbitrary, oh, by the way, this costs 100K. You have to prove to them that it costs 100K. You have to actually have the skill to back that up.
But on a parang final na ano natin, parang summary of all that we've talked about, Kuya, would you say, like, on your personal experience, that diving in the digital market was like one of the biggest transformations in your life, na masasabi mo na if you were at the corporate job, then it wouldn't be this better? Like
By digital market, do you mean diving into
working, yeah,
freelancing or
freelancing.
self-employment?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, I think so. I think I it was for me. There were small decisions and big decisions along the way, but now that I look back on it, it wasn't really a decision. It was more of really where I was heading, because I had a couple of goals when I started, and I'm still trying to reach some of them. Some of them I already achieved, and it really didn't. It wasn't a decision for me like, oh, I woke up, oh, I'm sick of working, oh, I wanna be a freelancer. It wasn't like that. It was like, how what can I do to achieve this? What can I do? So like we said earlier, like in Kwento Ko na, I wasn't really a good employee, so I figured out that being just an employee won't be the fastest way to achieve my goals, right? So I mean, right now I'm technically an employee for half of the week, but I am in a position where I can already influence others, I can already help others, and I can already mentor the creatives under me, and I pretty much have expertise that can back up my decisions when I push back on clients, I mean, so it worked out.
So, yeah, if you have like final questions, guys, I guess.
Okay.
Uh,
So, Kuya, am I right na you are in the digital space for like 17 years now?
Wait, let me check my let me check when I first started. Yeah, I first started in design 2005, I think.
Okay. So with all those years summed up, like
21. Yeah, 16
um
years.
yeah, with that
Mm.
16 years, what still like what is the thing that still drives you to do this? Like,
It's
is it
not
the money? Is it the passion?
it's not passion. It's not passion.
Okay.
It's not some it is money because you need that to
Mm.
live. For
Absolutely.
me, money is not for me to buy things. Money
Okay.
for me is to buy time.
Yep.
yeah.
That's the most, I think, what I'm aiming for right now is to build my financials to a point where it can buy me time. Time not working until 5 in the morning. Time not chasing after clients for my next paycheck. Time for myself and my family, and just to enjoy the things that I've achieved. And so, of course, as young boys or as young kids, early on, money is always about the things you can get, the next cool gadget. Especially some mga techies like us. Oh my God, that mouse is so cool! I need to have that. Parang ganon.
True.
Of course, there's still that, but that in terms of motivation, it's money, but that's for time. And my second motivation is purpose. It's never passion, because passion fades. Sometimes I get so sick of designing something or even designing in general, but there's always a purpose that, I set a goal when I started and I want to reach that goal. Or my purpose of mentoring and teaching as many young designers as I can help navigating their career or their life choices when it comes to um, freelancing or working on their own. And yeah, I apart from that, there's not really much motivation. Once you find your purpose, then everything can blossom from that. So purpose from passion comes from purpose, and then from that you get your money, and then from that you
You
get
get
your
time.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
So,
I think if you need to watch all those gurus, all the they make it so
Easy.
flashy.
Yeah.
That's their job. They make it sound really easy. All these financial gurus, all these design gurus, all these um, work from home, multiple streams of income. You know the type. They're all over YouTube, right? If you need them to motivate yourself to work for yourself, then my best advice to you is quit. Just go back, work for work a salary, go back into the corporate world, help build someone else's dream, but at the same time, you're safe, you're building your own. That's because for some people, employment may be what's best for them. Some people are great employees, Some people can help build someone else's dream 100 times more effective than others, right? So if you're that person, then that's the best path for you to achieve your financial goals or your career goals, and go for it, right? If you're the type of person that needs to watch motivational videos before they wake up in the morning and actually grind, then this is not for you. It's hard as fuck. It's hard as fuck, especially if you're in the creative industry and you're out of ideas.
Yeah.
When your passion fades, you're really sleepy at 5 in the morning, and you just don't want to give a fuck. It's hard as fuck. So those are the times that you're gonna wish that shit. I wish I was just sitting at the office, so that when 5 p.m. comes, I can leave my work at the office and I can come home and just play video games.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the real shit. So
It's hard as fuck.
that's the biggest difference. So
So my advice for people who want to start out: pick a start date. Start date is the most important because that's your first step. Pick a start date. Set goals for at least a year, and find people that you want to emulate. Find people who are succeeding in that space, who you think are succeeding, who you think are worthy to emulate. Not copy, emulate. Follow their pattern, see how they got there. Maybe even find mentors to help you along the way. But again, mentors aren't important until you hit a big enough of a roadblock that you need to jump to the, like for example, I have a few design mentors, but I have more business mentors, people I consider, because I'm that's not my forte. Business is not my forte. So as much as you can learn from people who made that their forte, then go ahead and do that. And that's it. Again, my final advice to you guys: if you haven't been listening, and if you don't do what I say, and if you haven't been listening to what we've been talking about here for the past hour, quit. This isn't for you.
yeah,
Go work. Be comfortable. Save up. Get your insurance.
and have retirement ready.
Have retirement plan. That's
And
gonna work out best for you. But
It's
if you
not for
think
everyone.
exactly, if you think that's not enough, if you want something more, and if you're brave enough to try it, then set a start date, set your goals, and do it.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Kuya, for this opportunity that we've got to pick your brains out. Kasi alam ko talaga you're one of the people that I've already known for a while. And I know you're really great at your craft and you're already honed that shit to the ground na alam mong kaya mong i-prove na may
Mm,
ipapakita ka sa mga like
I, I,
clients.
w- I would disagree with that. I still think I'm crap. I still think I'm shit. I have a lot of I have a long way to go from, like, maybe to some people after working more than a decade in an industry, they, alam mo yun, for them
It's all
they
good.
think they think those people are experts. Let me tell you right now, I'm an expert of some things, but I'm a novice in so many more things. So many more things right now. The more I learn, the more I know that I don't know anything.
Yeah, that goes to part that learning and investing in yourself always goes back around and around. It never stops until yun nga, mamatay na lang tayo. Uh, so,
Correct.
yeah, so yun nga, kaya thank you so much sa na time. And I know you're a busy guy, maybe ngayon, yun nga. So, pero, yes.
Okay lang. No worries.
And
Kuya, by the way, before we end this, would you like to plug anything? Where can people follow you?
Okay, cool. Thanks for reminding me. Right. So right now, I don't want to call it actually my passion project, but it's something that I really love doing right now. Is I am the creative director and principal designer over at Sneak Attack. So at SNK.ATK on Instagram. Me and my partners are building wonderful things over there. So come check us out. We do technical wear, we do casual wear, and we have a lot of big things that we're working on right now that we can't exactly reveal yet, but you'll see soon. And if for my private practice, you can go ahead to alfafara.co, or you can follow my Instagram at drifter DRIF.T.R at Instagram. All right.
okay.
All right.
See you
Bye,
soon.
guys.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Kuya.
Kaunta, guys.
Bye.
Kain muna tayo.
See.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.